unmute you. Sorry, we're going to be on a debate now.
Yeah. Hello.
Good afternoon. It is Thursday, the 14th of October, 2021, and welcome to another episode of News 24 Town Hall. My name is Adriaan Basson. I'm the editor-in-chief of News 24, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our third installment of News 24 Town Hall Elections 2021. Just 17 days left before the local government elections of this year. And today we shift our focus right down to the Eastern Cape of South Africa, the southern eastern part of the country, where we go to Nelson Mandela Bay, the economic capital of the Eastern Cape. And today we are talking to the mayoral candidates and representatives of four of the biggest parties in Nelson Mandela Bay, to tell us why we should vote for them. Why should we entrust them with our votes to take us into the next 5 years? Nelson Mandela Bay, as you know, the friendly city, or as some would say, the windy city, has changed its name recently to Gqeberha. And today we are asking, is a name change all that has changed for the people of Gqeberha in the past 5 years? Over the past 5 years, the story of Nelson Mandela Bay has not been a pretty one. The council has been marred by instability. We have had 3 different coalition governments ruling the city. Violence, we saw even over the past 24 hours, violence breaking out in the city center. Unemployment has risen, service delivery remains poor. Today, we want to know from the incumbent, the Democratic Alliance, Nkaba Banga, as well as his coalition partners and opposition, why we should vote for them and why they will fix the problems that besets Nelson Mandela Bay. I would like to welcome the executive mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay, Mr. Nkaba Banga from the DA, as well as the ANC's regional task team leader, Mr. Nkeba Faku, who's a former mayor of what was then known as Port Elizabeth, but the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro Municipality. The EFF's regional chairperson, Kanya Nklisha, is joining us today, as well as the deputy mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay, representing the UDM, Mr. Lukolo Namete. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for giving me your lunch hour. Mayor Banga, I know you were in a meeting about what happened in the city yesterday. I would appreciate if you can kick off by briefly telling us what you know about yesterday's terrible events and what the latest update is on that.
Yeah, you can see I'm in a car now where we just finished a meeting with the minister, with the business and taxi industry and the Somalian nationals. We're going now to meet a group of the foreign nationals in where the incident happened with the minister. We are assessing the situation, and the position is that the people who have banned the car, they must be arrested. The people who have banned the shops, they must be arrested throughout. Because in South Africa, there's law and order, and the people who are posing with the machine guns and the rifles throughout, it's not allowed in South Africa. Those people must be arrested. There must be law and order. This is a constitutional democracy. There are things that cannot be done, and we've said it very clear to the taxi industry. We've said it very clear to the Somalian nationals that we must make sure that those people get arrested as soon as possible. By the end of today, the minister also sent a very clear instruction: they must be arrested. This country is not a banana republic. It's a democratic and constitutional democracy. We expect results. The police are on the ground as I'm speaking with you. finding the people who were carrying those weapons, finding those weapons, and also finding the people who have banned the vehicles, finding the people who have banned the shops, and finding the people who have banned shops even in the townships. We have instructed them very clear that must be happen. It must be happen now, and it must happen today.
Thank you very much for that update, Mayor Banga. If you can hear me, can I ask you, I'm going to ask each of the representatives to now introduce themselves in 60 seconds to tell our viewers and the residents of Nelson Mandela Bay, firstly, who you are, and secondly, why they should vote for you. Just in 60 seconds before we go into more questions, I've got my stopwatch here. Mayor Banga, if I can ask you just to continue, please, with that for us.
People must vote for the DA because the DA have proven that we can govern better in Nelson Mandela as the only party. And the DA is the party of good governance throughout. We have a very good track record. The top 5 municipalities in South Africa are all governed by the Democratic. And according to the independent ratings, Africa Municipal Financial Sustainability Index, they are Mossel Bay, they are Cape Town, Swartland, and Overstrand. All those municipalities are under the DA government. When we're governing in 2016, 2017, the DA municipality, the Nelson Mandela municipality, was rated the second least trusted municipality under an ANC government. When we took over, we were rated the second trusted municipality under a DA government. Therefore, when we govern as a
Thank you,
DA,
Mayor. We can leave it there for now. We will return to those topics. Your 60 seconds were up. If I can move to Mr. Ndeba Faku from the ANC, sir, your 60 seconds starts now. Introduce yourself and why the voters should vote for you. Mr. Faku, please unmute yourself. Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ndeba Faku. I am the convener, the chairperson of the ANC in the region. I like the people of Nelson Mandela to reinstate once more the African National Congress back in power in the metro, because we have a track record that we can quote not anywhere else but here in the metro. When the African National Congress is given full power to govern, we have a track record in this metro of good governance in all manners of ways. We get accolades from the communities, we get awards from international and national accrediting organizations. Secondly, it can only be the ANC that has policies that are genuine for the people of Nelson Mandela. We cannot be a city that is led without a vision. What is it that we seek to obtain for our people?
Thank you, sir. That's the introduction. Can I now ask Kanya Nglisha from the EFF? Your 60 seconds. Introduce yourself and why should the EFF be voted for?
Yes, Kanya Nglisha, regional chairperson of the EFF. Firstly, the DA is just good with paperwork. It's not everywhere where they govern they do good. They are not interested in black people. The NC have had their time and they failed, and the people have rejected them. The only solution is the EFF, because it's the EFF that speaks about the emancipation of economic oppression for our people. The EFF is the only political party that talks about expropriation of land without compensation for equal distribution and means it. It's the only political party that will not allow our people to be evacuated or to be removed from land, just like the ANC does and the DA does. It's the only political party that is talking of insourcing security guards, cleaners, meter readers, so that our people can have dignity. So we are saying that come 1st November, our people must vote for the EFF in numbers so that they can have a change in terms of the way that they live their lives.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the EFF. We'll come back to you in due course. I would now like to give the Deputy Mayor representing the UDM, Mr. Lukolo Namet, opportunity to introduce yourself to us, sir. Your 60 seconds starts now.
Yes, thank you very much. The UTM, after the 1st of November, will make sure that we stimulate the local economy by cutting off the red tapes that are there to prevent our SMMEs to grow bigger. We will ensure that we interact. In fact, our councillors will interact with our communities on daily basis. Also to account, we are going to fight for a clean and ethical governance. We will ensure that access to essential services will be there. We will keep you safe and secure. We will work with all stakeholders, such as your Metro Police, your South African Policing Service, and other community stakeholders. We want to repair and rebuild and maintain infrastructure. As you know that in our city, we have an aged infrastructure. We will work to keep people's healthy and environment clean. Services like your refuse collection, we will collect it daily. We will make sure that we keep roofs over the citizens of Nelson Mandela everywhere. We will develop rural areas such as your Ato, Kerkut, all those small areas that are surrounding Nelson Mandela Bay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for those introductions. I would now like to go into further questions. My first question is going to Mr. Faku of the ANC. Mr. Faku, President Cyril Ramaphosa, your party leader, campaigned in the area recently. And he told the residents of Nelson Mandela Bay that since the DA took power in 2016, or the DA-led coalition, I must say, took power in 2016, nothing has changed for the residents of Nelson Mandela Bay. Is that correct view, and can you give us some examples of that?
Yes, I can. I will give you very basic examples. The first one is the question of the non-delivery of houses for our people. We have no evidence to show that this metro has actually delivered houses of our people to our people. Zero, because of the challenges that are inherent in the system of this municipality. That is one. Two, there is a project called ATTP, Assistance to the Poor Project. That project used to assist more than 110,000 people. Today, as we speak, that project assists about 60,000 people. And it is a project that is funded by the subsidy derived from the National Treasury. It is not necessarily a project that is funded from within the coffers. And as a result, the less utilization of that grant puts the municipality in bad books of the Treasury, because those then monies go back, or that underspending cannot be rolled over to the next year. That is one. Two, the water crisis, the electricity crisis in the metro because of the dilapidated infrastructure. There is no plan, solid plan in place other than interventions. Our people stay without water for a long time. Business in the metro has no confidence of reliability of supply of water. Thirdly, it's electricity. Our people also are affected with, other than ESCOM load shedding. I'm talking about infrastructure decay. What we have to say, to need to know, how much spending is made by this municipality on maintenance of infrastructure, maintenance, especially of electricity and water. The other one is the relationship between the municipality and substantial stakeholders in the metro. People like your Kucha, people like your chambers of business, organized unions, the stakeholder supply, not the stakeholder supply, the social compact has actually broken down in the metro. There is no concrete platform of social compact where these kind of situations can be discussed on a regular, structured basis. That has completely collapsed. The other point, the supply chain issue. The supply chain issue has grounded to a halt in the metro.
Thank you, Mr. Faku. I want to go to the EFF and then the UDM and ask the representatives. They have heard what the ANC had to say about the past 5 years under the DA coalition's control. Of course, there was a period in the middle when the UDM and the ANC was and the EFF was in charge. The EFF, do you agree with what you heard from Mr. Faku?
No, well, the ANC can be as technical as they want and try to mislead people by, using nice words and all of that. But the fact of the matter is that the masses have rejected them, and hence they were removed from political power. They have a history of being involved in high levels of kleptocracy, in loving the tender system uncontrollably, and always finding their hands in the cookie jar. Even himself, Mr. Faku, by the way, is been implicated. His name was found in that COVID relief fund that was sent to the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality of owning a company that benefited from those COVID funds that were given to assist during this tragic time of COVID. And their only interest, the ANC, by the way, of political power is so that they can be able to have a close proximity to the public purse. They want to eat up until the municipality collapses. Many of the municipalities within the Eastern Cape have been collapsing. Most of them are even very close to being under administration and being controlled by the province. It's because these people, they are inherently corrupt. They just want to eat. They've got no interest for the people they serve. And fortunately, the people of Nelson Mandela Bay have seen through them, and they've rejected them time and time again. In 2011, they were 51%, by the way. In 2016 local elections, they lost more than 10%. They went down, a humongous drop, because the people of Nelson Mandela were sick and tired of them.
Thank you, Mr. Nglisha. Thank you very much. I want to move to the Deputy Mayor, Mr. Namete. Sir, you guys are currently part of the coalition, the governing coalition. Do you have a more positive assessment of the past 5 years than Mr. Faku?
In our culture, it is rude to say an older person is talking lies. But the old man must just retire now from politics and let the young people run the city. He knows very well that the housing was taken away by the national government. The function of the housing was taken away by the national government and provincial government when they were in power, because of the corruption that they did in the Department of Human Settlement together with the supply chain. Coming to ATTP, when we took over, we find that there is a lot of corruption that is going. Remember, when you apply for ATTP, it's an assistance to the poor. But what we find out is that even people that are working, they benefit on that program. So we interrogated it, and then we cut those that are getting the ATTP wrong. The water crisis, he knows very well that the municipality is busy trying to connect a pipe which will feed people of KwaNobuhle, and he knows very well that there's a process of desalination plant that the municipality is busy engaging Kucha. Electricity,
we are proud to tell you that 80% of the informal shacks or houses, we are busy trying to electrify them. 80% of them are already electrified. He's talking about the relationship between private sector. Yes, that is why today we have partnered up with Nelson Mandela Business Chamber to safeguard our substation, because in Nelson Mandela we have a problem of a cable theft and vandalism. Today, we are proud to say that as this government, our partnership with Business Chamber is very strong. They have adopted our substation to safeguard them, and also they will assist us in terms of fighting with this thing of vandalism.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Namete. I'm going to stop you there, sir. We'll come back to you. Mayor Banga, I hope you can hear me there in your car on the way to your next meeting. I don't know if you could hear the other speakers, but just in summary, Mr. Faku says that you have not been doing a good job as a DA-led coalition in the city. In fact, things are worse off now, and that was also what President Ramaphosa said when he was recently campaigning in Nelson Mandela Bay. There was also some strong criticism then towards the ANC by the EFF and the UDM. What is your response, Mayor Banga?
Thank you very much, Adriaan. Mr. Faku understand less about housing. The housing function is a national government function. And I can tell you, under an ANC government, the ANC in 2015 government took over the function of delivering housing. They gave it to HDA because of the corruption in the housing department of ANC official. Mr. Faku knows it very clear. He's been there. He knows that we had a problem under their leadership of the corruption there. Therefore, what we did, we challenged that the housing function must be brought back to us. Under an ANC government, we lost close to 500 million rand in the Eastern Cape in housing delivery. In Nelson Mandela, we lost close to 350 million rand in this regard, because we are the biggest housing deliverer. The ANC HDA delivered zero under their government. The president is not well informed, because HDA is run by national government.
Thank you, Mayor Banga. I think we lost you there. I heard you saying that, in fact, Mr. Faku are confusing matters. He should be blaming his own colleagues in the national government for failed housing projects. Mr. Faku, can you briefly respond to that?
No, not at all. I hope I'm audible. Not at all. You see, what happened, it is true, that function was taken away from the metro because of, indeed, of maladministration and corruption within that department. Now, when that function was taken away, it was an understanding between the three spheres of government that the management and the monitoring of housing delivery in the metro is going to be a joint exercise. Now, there are certain functions when you deliver a house that would need to be performed by a local municipality, because the beneficiary and the land and matters related to that are mainly operated at a local level or at a municipality level. Now, those, because the municipality was not happy with the taking away of this function, then they withheld that information, because it now needed to be a collaborative exercise between the three spheres of government. And that then resulted into the metro itself not being able, HDA cannot deliver houses without beneficiaries. And beneficiaries would be identified by the local municipality because it has that particular system. So it is absolutely incorrect national government and provincial government have always been pestering on getting the necessary information to finish up the chain that would actually deliver houses. So it is absolutely incorrect. If the colleagues can themselves actually go and find out from HDA what were the bottlenecks that caused you not to perform. Now, those were caused because there is a collaborated information that is required for them to be able to execute that task. They can't build houses without the beneficiaries having been identified by the municipality. Secondly,
Thank you.
Can I chip in, Chair?
Thank you. I just want to briefly come back to the mayor. Mr. Banga, Mayor Banga, can I briefly ask you to respond to Mr. Faku's comments that in fact you are not understanding the system, and then I want to go to the issue of coalitions. But let's just quickly finish the housing issue.
Mr. Faku, I must correct him. You know, I'm a housing practitioner, even in practice. The national government have a housing national database, which they collect and also which we allocate housing to. Therefore, the instrument is talking about are not true. Nelson Mandela, under the DA government, we developed more than 7,000 sites for housing development. Therefore, we're the best in South Africa in 2016 until 2018. And that collapsed when the ANC government took over in 2018, 2019, and 2020. 0 sites were developed because the ANC encouraged invasion. Therefore, HDA of the ANC could not even develop one single house. It's not of the DA, it's not of the UDM, it's not of the EFF, it's of the ANC. An ANC minister is given a responsibility to preside over HDA. They couldn't develop anything. I have disagreed with them. It's known, it's recorded with Minister Sisulu to say, give us back the function. That's why they've agreed with me now, whilst I'm a mayor, to give us back the function. We'll be developing the first 350. 2 weeks back, we have approved contractors to develop those, which are 345. Under Mr. Faku's leadership, they only approved 41 of their friends, starting from 1 to 45. It's because the ANC, when it develops things and give contracts, it gives to friends. I stopped that. We developed 350. Therefore, Mr. Faku must not lie in front of the South African people.
I want to move to Mr. Namete from the UDM, Deputy Mayor. I know you want to come in on the housing, but I also want to ask you a question. Coalitions. The city has been run by coalitions for the past 5 years. Your party has switched allegiances, first from the DA to the ANC and now back to the DA. Why should the voters trust you as the UDM this time, that you will stick to the same coalition and you will bring stability to the management of the city?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. But let me first start by, I think Utatu Faku is putting it very nice and clear that the function was taken because of maladministration. Can you please ask him, when was this function taken? It was taken in 2015 under the leadership of the ANC. So in other words, he acknowledges and know that the maladministration happened under his leadership of his ANC. Number two, let me quickly go to your question to say, are the coalition working for? Yes, indeed, but it depends on the kind of leadership you have. You see this one, the one of UDM, DA, and ACDP and AIC and COPE is working very well. You see that in Nelson Mandela, there's a change, there's a stability. Even National Treasury can attest to that, that things are not the same. You are asking me about previous coalition with the ANC. Yes, we've been in the coalition with the ANC, but what we find out is that ANC cannot work with other parties. They have a big brother mentality and they bully small parties. They don't want to listen to other parties. What is right is what they say. So that coalition with the ANC collapsed because of the arrogance and the bullyism of the ANC. That's why we have taken a decision to go out of that coalition and work with the DA.
Mr. Nglisha from the EFF, can I get your view on coalitions in Nelson Mandela Bay? I think all of you will obviously say to me today that you want to win outright, but the reality and the research is showing us that it's very likely we may have a coalition government again. What has been the EFF's experience of coalitions, and will you enter into a coalition after this election?
Yes. Well, firstly, let me just say this as well. The ANC and the DA, you see, they subscribe to the same neoliberal policies that push the agenda of capitalism, profit margins, and all of that. And as the EFF, that is why we have said that fundamentally, you need to capacitate the state. The function of housing must be under local government, not only just the function of housing, the building of housing, everything that goes into building a house, not that the state will then give a contract to another company, because there's a lot of issues that happen there which will lead to corruption. The sooner they realize that, the better. The issue of coalition, the reason why the EFF has never been into a coalition, it is because we understand the fact that if you are in a coalition, you take a risk, in fact, of losing your identity as a political party. You see now, look at what's happening to COPE. I'm surprised that the UDM is mentioning COPE. The lady of COPE has left and went and joined the DA. They were swallowed by the DA. So COPE, in fact, it's no longer existing. It's not going to exist, by the way. The EFF has been vocal in spite of not being part in a coalition. As long as a political party supports our ideological understanding of policies, then we support them. For instance, the DA never agreed with us in expropriation of land without compensation, because their interest is to protect economic beneficiaries of apartheid. We said we want nothing to do with them, and that's why we had to remove Trolley, because the DA was arrogant like that. We are saying that as long as you support our policies, which speak to the upliftment of our people and liberating our people from economic oppression, we will support you. But indeed, we want to win this municipality outright, and we believe that we can do that. And I've said to you, facts are there. The ANC dropped by 10%. So you can imagine now, this particular time, people are sick and tired. There's been COVID, people are unemployed. The Eastern Cape, by the way, has got the highest unemployment rate, close to 50%, which is telling you that almost half of the people of the Eastern Cape are not working. It's 40% here in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. So people are unemployed. They are dealing with serious issues of bread and butter. And it's only the EFF, they can be able to provide a solution to that.
Mayor Banga, thank you very much. Mayor Banga, if I can come back to you on the topic of coalitions, what has been your lessons that you have learned over the past 5 years about coalitions? And are there some mistakes that the DA made that you will try to avoid this time?
The first thing is that in 2016 and 2017 and 18, it's because the DA lost power in Nelson Mandela because of the EFF and the ANC racist approach. Because the EFF said it very clear that Mr. Trollip was removed, not because he was doing a good job, because Mr. Trollip was doing a good job as a leader of the DA in government. The only reason he was removed is because he's white, and the ANC support that. And it means that the ANC and the EFF are racist organizations who support a group of people, do not believe that South Africans can work together in building a non-racial society, that even whites, Indian, coloreds can contribute and lead this city. Therefore, that's one of the reasons. The second reason, it's because when the DA started to dig the rot and the corruption of the ANC, we expose it. As I speak with you, 5 ANC officials are in court through the Hawks for stealing money from the IPTS that was stolen from 2015 down to the 20 years of the ANC rule. Therefore, the DA exposed that. We got deeper to the past and what they've been doing in the rot. We exposed what they were doing in public health. We exposed what they were doing in transport, in roads. And then the ANC became impatient with the EFF. Together, they collaborated because One of the failures of coalition is that when you start to be principle and stand for the principle, those parties who do not have principles, who share the same beliefs like the EFF and the ANC, start to block you in exposing and cleaning the city. This is what has happened. But I can tell you now, the coalition is working, because if you can see, the deputy mayor of the UDM and I, we share the same values and thinking. We want to clean city together. Therefore, the issue of personalities come. Therefore, this coalition is more stable with COPE, ACTP, and the UDM, because we know what we want. We want to stop corruption in the city and deliver services. Therefore, what we want to do is to make sure that we have a stable government with those who share the same values. But now in this election, we want 50% by plus one, because we want to implement our clear blueprint of the DA. If you give us the majority as a DA, we can show you what we do and do the things we do in municipalities like Cape Town, where we govern as a majority, and make sure that our manifesto is not diluted. That's where we are. We have to defeat an EFF and ANC coalition and make sure that we throw them out, because it will break down the city. If they have encouraged invasions in the city, there's no invasion that is going to happen under our leadership in this city. We'll stop them, because we have to protect private property of individuals. What they have done, the EFF and the ANC, they've destroyed the value of houses of people in Kwamakaki. Those people are black people. They were saying they're empowering, but destroying the value of property of black people in Swalkop Valley. People who work hard and build bonds, and they put sharks in front of those houses. Those people are not happy. It's ANC and EFF. It's not
Thank
going
you.
to happen under the DA government. I have put up a law that there's no more invasion. As I speak with you, no invasion this
Thank
city.
you.
Because we
Thank you,
govern
Mayor.
responsibly.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Namete, you're currently the deputy mayor on the DA with the DA. But as you heard, Mr. Nglisha from the EFF warn you that the DA will swallow you. I mean, if the DA gets the 50 plus 1%, they're not going to need you anymore. Are you not in a precarious position as the UDM at this point?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question. You were
Nope.
breaking up.
I'm saying that you've heard the warning from your colleague, Mr. Nglisha from the EFF, that the DA has, according to him, a reputation for swallowing smaller parties and spitting you out, and that representatives from COPE, for example, is now with the DA. You've heard the mayor saying he wants 50 plus 1%. Does that not put you in a precarious position where you may not be needed anymore after the 1st of November?
The unfortunate part is that UTM cannot answer for COPE. But UTM is a principled organization and an independent organization. Therefore, we cannot be swallowed by the DA. Not now, not tomorrow, not anywhere. So by the way, it's his opinion that we won't be swallowed.
And so, what is your discussions with the mayor at the moment about life post the 1st of November? I mean, if the DA gets their 51%, they don't need you anymore.
Well, the UTM is pushing to get as much seat as we can, so that we can show the people of Nelson Mandela that the UTM is also capable of running a clean city and also a anti-free corrupt city. So we are pushing by all means to get ourselves also a 60 plus 1, so that we will also run a city without interruptions and deliver service to the people.
Mr. Faku from the ANC, you've heard the mayor saying that you teamed up with the EFF to get rid of former Mayor Athol Trollip because you were racist. Essentially, you were racist. You didn't want a white mayor to run the city. Do you agree with that assessment? And what is the ANC's approach to non-racialism in this very diverse city? You have, for example, the northern areas predominantly colored residents. And from what I've seen, the northern areas will be very important for all of the parties in this conversation to be able to win this election. Where does that leave the ANC and non-racialism?
The African National Congress would never resort to racism on any matter that pertains to the people of South Africa. It would, however, point it out where it exists or it manifests itself one way or the other. So the African National Congress is a non-racial, non-sexist organization, but it will not shy from pointing out where there are signs of racism. Secondly, the African National Congress has particular tools that it would use or that it uses to identify any other possible partner or any other possible collaborative party. Because the African National Congress is more inclined towards parties that would be sympathetic to the cause of liberation of our people. In spite of all other faults or defects, but the fundamental thing is that which seeks and inspires the development of the most disadvantaged communities. So the African National Congress chooses its partnerships in line with its policies and in line with its agenda of transformation, not transforming the wealth and the poor. I mean the wealth and the affluent, but more the disadvantaged communities. Secondly, I want to say the African National Congress is not really into what we would call coalitions. Coalitions are by themselves an accident in a political activity of elections. You don't work with the coalition mentality in mind. We are the ANC that has been in government in this metro and in other municipalities. We have acquired experience out of that government for bad or for unfortunate situations. Firstly, it is important that what is it that we bring as the ANC that is different and new in this time around, that we're saying to our people, we have learned, mistakes have been committed, but as a party of principle, as a party of liberation, this is what now we are going to be intending to do. We must improve the manner in which our people or our councillors or the municipality is accountable to the residents, the accountability and the active citizenry participation on matters that affect them in their wards. That's why the ANC is saying it is going to be important that we must have a ward-based local economic development, ward-based local economic development, so that we eliminate all these perceptions and sometimes indeed this tradition that development takes place in certain corners of the metro. The African National Congress wants to improve the ward-based local economic development. Secondly, the African National Congress seeks to improve the supply chain management, because some of these corruption areas that are taking place is because the supply chain management system of the municipality is itself not watertight enough and is not transparent enough, and then it gives all sorts of opportunities of people to manipulate how the municipality disperses and acquire the resources. So the question of focusing on improving the supply chain management system is fundamental to the ANC in doing things differently.
Thank
Thirdly,
you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please hold that point. I'll come back to you. Mayor Banga, I need to ask you, and I know this is not the only measurement of a successful municipality, but the Auditor General every year releases her results for the audits of all South African municipalities. The Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality received its 9th consecutive qualified audit opinion from the Auditor General this year.
Yes,
So the DA coalition could not turn around that matter, that facet of the city. Why were you unable to get a clean audit? What are the matters that are still preventing you from getting a clean audit, and why should the voters reinstate you to this office?
Let me help you, Andre. The budgeting cycle of the municipality is start from July to June. Do you understand? Therefore, what has been evaluated, as you are reporting, it's ANC government performance. Because what the Auditor General was reviewing is the period where the ANC the government of corruption with the EFF was presiding over the city. We have not
but
been
even the first 2 years, sir. Even the first
just wait,
2 years.
just wait. I will help you. This period has been evaluated, which is the ANC have performed 30% of their performance indicators. That's the first one. The ANC have killed everything. But I can tell you, in 2016, 2017, taking over from an ANC lack of performance, qualified audit for many years, more than 15 years, by the way, we improve audit qualifications. At least from 9, we had 3 audit qualifications in that period, 16 and 18. You can go and look it for yourself. When the DA governs, you can see a drastic change. There was an improvement in 2016, 2017 under DA government. The ANC government took over. There was a complete sharp decline with an increase in irregular expenditure of 20 billion rand. And also contracts such as the grain heist, where they used 21 people were allocated under ANC government, and the systems collapsed. When the DA took over in December, there was an improvement again in the qualifications because we monitored the systems, but under the ANC government, there's been a crisis. I can assure you, in the next 5 years, we'll improve things. In our DA municipality next door, Rand majority Kucha municipality, it's the only municipality in the Eastern Cape that has been getting clean audits. That's where the DA governs, because the DA gets things done.
Thank you very much, Mr. Banga. Can I move to the UDM, Mr. Namete? Mr. Namete, you as the UDM have always campaigned very strongly on an anti-corruption ticket. That has been part of your campaign always. But then during this period in which you were in charge of the coalition with the late Mayor Bobani, there were some serious allegations of corruption made against the party and the former Mayor Bobani. Is that something that you have addressed? I mean, how do you campaign on anti-corruption if your party itself was implicated in wrongdoing when you were in charge of the city?
Well, allegations remains allegation up until they are proven in the court of the law. And you know that we have that thing that says you are not guilty up until you are proven guilty by the court of the law. The unfortunate part is that Keita Bobani was never charged in any court of the law. And also the unfortunate part is that he's no longer here with us to answer these kind of questions. So we believe that there's a process that was to be followed if indeed he was corrupt. As a UDM, we are a party that is willing to work with all law enforcement agencies. We believe that if indeed he was corrupt, the council should have processed him in the ethics committee so that he could answer for himself. but none of that has been done. However, coming back to what Utatu Faku was saying, that collisions are caused of accidents, I may ask myself, who caused that accident? Because at the end, we are in this mess because of the mess and the corruption of the ANC. You know, when he talks, he reminds me of a story of cat and mouse, where the cat calls the meeting of the mouse to say, let us create peace amongst us, and yet he instructed the cats that no one must eat the mouses again, but yet the tail of the mouth is the tail of the mouse is inside his mouth. So Utatu Faku must not come here and talk nicely as if all is well, because we are in this mess because of them. Even the corruption that is happening at supply chain, it's because of them. They are the one who have looted money from the state. We are in this mess. You must know that there are reports that they were hiding for quite a long time. As this collective, we've managed to take them to council to discuss them. The reports that they didn't want.
I think there was even a book written called "How to Steal a City" by a veteran ANC leader who now works in the presidency. But let me come back to
if I may advise him, Tata, please go home and rest. Please.
No, Mr. Namete, no, we're not retiring anyone here today. Let's get Mr. Faku a chance. Mr. Faku, I want to.
Wait.
I want to
you
talk
must
to.
Give me a chance to speak. I have not.
No, I'm getting to you, sir. I'm getting to you. We must talk about turnout. So I want to ask Mr. Faku first, and then I'll come to the EFF.
They've been talking these people, Adriaan. You can't allow them to speak and then exclude myself.
Please, Mr. Ndisha, I'll come to you after this. Mr. Faku, voter turnout is extremely important for every party here this year. In 2016, the ANC could not get your voters to come and vote for you, and that's why you got 40% only. How will you change that this year? What are you doing to get voters to come out?
Well, thank you very much. By the way, people must not think that there is anything wrong in the African National Congress when it deploys its stalwarts in government. Those stalwarts are the people who have scars of this revolution. So if you don't have stalwarts in organizations, here again, the African National Congress, to do things as it does, because it's got the reasons why it does them. Secondly, the people of the metro are going to come out in numbers. We are going to prove to all the people of this country and the world that the people of the metro have a lot of confidence in the African National Congress, because the ANC has consistent policies that seek to improve the quality of life of our people. It would be disappointed from time to time by mistakes that are committed by its leaders from time to time. But that does not take away the principle that the African National Congress is the only party of liberation with true values and intentions to root out the poverty of our people, to place our people in the center of development. That is the reason why we are confident that we are not going for a coalition in this results of 2021. We are going for a total takeover. We are going for a total takeover, so that our people can see again how the African National Congress, with all this experience, how it can run the city again.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Faku. I want to come to the Red Berets, Mr. Nglisha. Tell us about voter turnout. How are you going to get your fighters to come out and vote?
Yes, yes. Firstly, I must not feel like I'm being managed in this debate, because everyone must have a fair opportunity to speak. That is the concern that I was raising. And I'm feeling like, yeah, my space is being managed somewhat. But be that as it may, I want to say that the ANC must not mislead people and say that they are not into coalitions. They were in a coalition themselves, and they were in it because it benefited them. They loved that coalition so much that when they were removed from political power and coalitions did not work for them, and the other smaller parties disagreed with them, they even staged a what you call this, a kidnapping by their speaker. That is how desperate these people are, and that is how desperate they want to retain political power by any means necessary. So they did not go out of coalitions out of their own good heart. Ngababanga, we've been trying to educate him as a black man that you cannot say black people who occupy unoccupied land are invading and that they are devaluing the property of middle-class citizens in KwaMagxaki. He's trying to divide black people amongst themselves, and we are calling the people of KwaMagxaki not to fall for that thing, because it is a tendency of white arrogance. I understand a white person not to understand the fact that people occupy unoccupied land, because people don't do it because they want to. It's because they want to have a sense of dignity, and they need land and they need houses in order to be dignified. They're demonstrating to the municipality that you are dragging your feet in terms of providing for them houses and the service delivery needs that goes hand in hand with houses. But seemingly, Ngababanga continues to say that our people are invading land. I've told him that land is a God-given gift. Who decided that land must be up for sale for the highest bidder? Our people don't have money. They've been economically oppressed for hundreds and hundreds of years. The economic part of liberation was never attended to after 1994, only political liberation. So how on earth are our people going to afford land? They must just allow people to occupy those places that are unoccupied, and they must be motivated that they need to fast track the process of giving land, land to our people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nglisha. Mayor Banga, I want to come to you in terms of turnout. You've brought down the federal chair of the DA, Helen Zille, to campaign with you in the northern areas. Is this not a sign that the local residents don't trust the local DA leaders? Why did you need to bring down Ms. Zille to campaign with you?
When the ANC brought Ramaphosa, you didn't say they didn't trust their local leadership. Therefore, that's incorrect. You brought Helen Zille here to work with me to lead the campaign. John Steenhuisen in Johannesburg. What we are doing today as a DA, we are working with the people, black, colored, Indians, and Africans. Because a DA is a party for all South Africans. If you are listening to this debate, it's only the DA that talks about all South Africans. That's a very important message. And South Africans must understand that they must go out in numbers to vote a DA government for 50+1. We are close to that because in 2016, we lost the majority by only 12,000 votes. Therefore, we have to consolidate those votes and get more of those. Each and every person here in Nelson Mandela must go out and vote. And I know that people are going to go out in numbers to go and stop an ANCEFF government of corruption. And we call our people to go out. We are on the ground. We are door to door. We are on the streets. We are here today in the media mobilizing our people because what we offer is the best thing, it's the best manifesto. Because we offer a clean and a healthy city. We offer a safe city because I'm going to double the Metro Police, put CCTV all over, an efficient city, a resilient city. We are managing our water system better. We have connected the Stanford Road pipe to stop.
Thank you, Mayor.
To avoid not having water in KwaNobuhle. Therefore, the best choice is one, the DA government. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last word to Mr. Namete from the UDM, sir. What are you doing in the last 2.5 weeks to get voters to come out and vote for your party?
We are urging all residents of Nelson Mandela to go out in numbers on the 1st of November. to make sure that they go out and protect the democracy of this country by voting UDM and not voting ANC and other parties. We are in a mess because of the ANC government. We appeal to all residents for clean governance, for job opportunities. They must vote UDM.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much to each of you for joining us in this News 24 Town Hall. It was lit, as they say. We are looking forward to what's happening in Nelson Mandela Bay on the 1st of November. It is down to the wire. I can tell you it is going to be down to the wire to see who takes the majority vote and how the next local government of Nelson Mandela Bay and its very important residents play out. We have this on the record and we will hold these politicians to their word for what they told us today. To the viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we see you when we are grilling the mayoral candidates for the capital of Tshwane. My name is Adriaan Basson. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe and stay tuned to News 24. Goodbye.